Hey, good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. So, it's been a little while since I've come on live to talk about building my business here in my sixth year in business. It's like either fourth year or sixth year, depending on when you actually decide that I started. So, but I am Fran 2024 now. It's a whole backstory with that. If you're new here, sorry, you're gonna have to watch the old video to figure out what that was about because today I'm coming on to talk about the second epiphany I had in January. So, shout out to April for reminding me that in my last video, I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about the second epiphany later. Because what happened with this second epiphany and what tends to happen is once you kind of like work through the issue and you've integrated the new identity, it's gone. Like I became that next level of myself and I stopped thinking about that. And it's the split energy. But it did come up again recently. So I'm glad that April reminded me that she was like, wanted me to talk about the split energy. So she wanted to hear what that was all about. So that's why I'm here today to talk about the epiphany I had with split energy. So, if you are new here, my name is Fran and I run the Financial School for Spenders, where we help you to have fun managing money, whether you have a small business or you're just, you know, living life as a spender and you're trying to figure out how to manage money because the economy has gotten crazy out of control and it's super hard to get by. Um, and now you really need to get on top of things. That's what I teach you how to do. And we make it fun and we make it easy. We do not budget at all. So, um, I've been very open about my journey. I started in 2019 talking about epiphanies that I have as I figure things out, right? Just kind of tumbling forward in business and in life. I had like a whole midlife crisis in 2019, which sparked the other series of live, my first series of lives called Travel Chat. I was in my car and I was just like talking things out. Those are still here on YouTube. But now I took a break for about 4 or 5 years. And now I'm back because back in 2019, I was trying to figure out who I'd be in 2024. And now it's 2024. This is who I am, right? Minus the sweatshirt most of the time. Um, and I'm having epiphanies, but I'm not having them as rapid fire as what was happening when I was really growing in 2019. Now it's more of like the deeper layers and the deeper things that I have to go hunt for that are holding me back. So I have a really great life coach, Danielle Nicole. You know her because we do our podcast on Wednesdays. She's helping me to dig out some of these issues and bring them to my awareness. And this one came up in January. So it's all about split energy. We talk a lot about the law of attraction. We talk a lot about spirituality anyway. I'm a Christian, I believe in God. And also, I think there's so much more about our spiritual life than what we um, like experience intentionally. Like it's happening to us, but we're not intentionally identifying it. So we're missing out a lot. So, what I help my spenders to do is also see those spiritual aspects of what's happening in their life. So, what happened with me is I used to practice medicine for, I don't know, like 14, 16 years. I was a hospital doctor and I was a people pleaser and I was an empath. So that combination is tough, right? It's tough, especially if you're in a service kind of business. So, I'm a hospital doctor. I have people who are sick. I have families, some who are nice, some who are demanding. And I'm an empath. So, I'm feeling very deeply what's happening to not only the families, but the patients. And I did not know how to control this at the time. Very emotionally overwhelming. Um, Very hard, right? For a long period of time and had a lot of patience. And the other part of that's being a people pleaser. So you want people to have the best possible experience, even if their loved one is in a tough spot, or maybe they're dying, or maybe whatever is happening, they need to have surgery or something's happening. And I took that as my responsibility to, make it okay for them. And that was hard. That really was hard. So I burned myself out. Okay. I know a lot of people go into medicine who do not get burned out, but I think especially if you consider yourself like spiritually a healer, or you're an empath, or you feel things differently, deeply, or you're a sensitive person, that kind of job is really tough. And it was not the job for me, but it was, my life path is my life path. So that's what I had to learn. Um, but I'm just like sitting in that. So I burned myself out, and it took years, I think. So I quit medicine in 2020. Thankfully, just as the pandemic was ramping up, because I don't know how I would have survived that. I was already like overly tired. Um, And then in about the fall of 2023, I felt my body relax. Like I felt, it was just one day, I just felt this lightness come over me. And I realized that everything heavy I was carrying, I released it. It took 3 years to really like sink into the idea that not everything was an emergency anymore. Not, people were not dying all around me. People were not having to go to ICU. I didn't have to check and double check, you know, their arterial blood gases and things like that. Like I didn't have emergencies, fires happening all around anymore. That was not my life. The ER was not going to call me 12 times in 30 minutes with new patients to admit. Like my body was so wound up in that experience that it took 3 years for me to fully believe and trust that that was over. It was like trauma, right? Like it's finally over. You can relax. It's like adopting a little puppy that's been, abused, and like the puppy's super scared and you can't convince it not to be scared. That's what was happening with me. There was danger, danger, danger all around me at all times. Like that's how wound up. And I think we underestimate how often people are living constantly in that heightened sense of danger. Happens a lot. So my body finally relaxed, and I was able to start to see things that I wasn't able to see before. One of which was in growing my business, I was very afraid of strangers. I remember getting coaching on this over and over and over again. And that's the way I described it. I was like, I'm afraid of strangers. Like, I'm just afraid of new people coming in, or not being able to control the flow of new clients, because I was afraid of the criticism. I was afraid of having to people please them, right? That's my own thought, was that I would have to do all this extra stuff and make sure they were getting results and yada, yada, yada. And that caused me to hold myself back. So for a long time, I would welcome in a few people at a time, super hands on to help them get the results that they wanted. Um, And the result of it was that it helped me to really build my delivery system. I'm going to turn on my fan. It helped me build my delivery system because I can get my fan. Okay. Because I was paying such close attention to such a small group of clients, I was able to see all the nuances of their financial experience. So it wasn't like it was just my process. Now I had other people and they were contributing to honing the process and making the process better. So the good thing that came out of that is that um, I know when somebody comes into the program, they're going to get results because the delivery is so good. Like the way the program works is so good. It's so beautiful. And people come in, they get results quickly, and it's amazing. So I'm not worried about that anymore, which is great, which helped me to open up the next level of like, okay, if I'm not worried about the results or even the criticism, like if someone is like, I didn't get results, I know what to ask them to find out why. I know exactly what. And I know like the one or two things that you need to do to get results. And if they're not doing those one or two things, it's easy for me to be like, oh, you just have to do these one or two things. Right. And that part's easy. But where the next level happened for me and where it comes into split energy is when it's time. So the positive was that the delivery was refined and the delivery of the program is now like on par. The problem was that I didn't welcome in enough people to like create. I make a full time income, but not like extra, like money for extras and all. Like it didn't just like blow up, right? My process is so great. The program is so life changing. Why didn't my program blow up? That's the question. And the answer is split energy. So I told you all that backstory so that you would understand my energy was split between wanting to have a business that was successful and being terrified of getting burned out because so many people came in and I had to, right? My thought was that I had to empathize with them and help them in a people pleasing kind of way to get their results because that's what I was doing before in medicine and I got burned out. So my nervous system was trying to protect me by keeping me small. So on one level, I was like saying I want to grow. Sometimes I was saying I want to grow. And on the other hand, I was acting like I didn't want to grow. I was saying I wanted to grow, but my actions showed I didn't want to grow. And at the heart of that, it was the fear that growth meant burnout. So my energy was split. So I wasn't on one accord. What I was saying I wanted to do, my actions didn't match up with it. My energy was split. Okay. So when you do that, when you have a goal or you have a thought about something you want to do, but your actions are not matching up, look to see what the underlying fear is there. You know, put more validity into your actions than you put into your words, right? Trust more of your actions because in the Financial School for Spenders in here on YouTube, I've talked about the diva and the queen. If you haven't watched that, I'll put the link down below. But you really need to find out what the diva is thinking because the diva is really running the show. So your actions are governed by what the diva is thinking, not the queen. Your queen has your highest regards, your highest self, your highest thoughts, your highest intentions, but she's not running the show until the diva and the queen are on one accord. So if your actions don't produce the results that you want, it's because there's something in your subconscious mind that's holding you back and it's usually protecting you. So it's not a bad thing. It's definitely for protection. So mine was protecting me from burnout because it was so terrible and so severe before that I've just decided I would never go back there again. And so I needed to see that. Now, what happened recently, I decided at the beginning of the year I wanted to do in-person workshops. I built this community online that I love. It's so much fun. I was like, what if I could do that in our small town? I want to have people come and like we coach and we talk about money and we have this great time. So that was my initial thought in January. So I planned one. When did I do it? I think I did. Oh, I did it February 1st. And leading up to it, probably the 2 weeks leading up to it, I started changing what the focus would be. So my initial thought was this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about money. I'm going to teach them stuff and it's going to help them change their life. But leading up to the workshop, I got bogged down in my head about what this should be, right? Like if I'm going to do this, I should sell to them. I should pitch the school. I should make sure that people take the next step. I should make sure that they, sign up and they join. And it just became like so heavy and not what I wanted. So what did I do? My energy was split, right? I was saying I want people to come to the workshop, but I was acting like I didn't want anyone to come to the workshop because I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't tell anybody about it until like 2 days before. And I was like, oh yeah, come to the workshop, right? 3 people came, which is amazing because I didn't tell anybody about it. So my energy was split and I see that now. So that was the beginning of February and I was like, here we are again, right? And my action showed that I really didn't want people to come. And I know now that the reason is that I had decided that what the workshop needed to be was something different than what I actually wanted it to be. So I was split. I wanted this thing, but my mind was telling me you have to do it this way. You should do it this way, right? Like the shoulds. The shoulds will always get you in trouble. And I didn't know how to reconcile the two. I didn't even notice the two. I just know that I was waking up in the middle of the night feeling terrible and wanting to just cancel the whole thing. It's like I don't want to do it. This thing that started out as like so fun, this great idea, I'm going to build community, now became like a job, like I have to sell. Of course I want people to come into the program. Of course I do. But how that typically happens is not me like aggressively selling something to someone. That's not how it usually happens. Usually it's in community. People get to know me. They find out what I do. I tell them, hey, this is how you come in. And they come in. When I go out and like call people or like pitch to them, those people come in and then they leave. Right? It works out that way. And maybe there's just more, like, definitely I need to learn more sales training or whatever. Or right? Or we all have like a way that we do things that works for us. So there's two, and there's more than two, but there's like, in my mind, there's two like schools of thought when it comes to sales and marketing. um One is very practical, which I love. It's like, let's look at the numbers, let's, do the thing. It's kind of very masculine. The other one is quite spiritual, and I'm learning more about that, and I'm loving that more, because there are some people who need to be, and then they attract. And seeing that in action, because I've seen people in my program, because I serve a lot of entrepreneurs, small business people, um, and I've seen that some people, they like hustle, 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 and nothing happens. And then they just go and they be, and everything happens. And it's not something that I've studied enough to be able to explain. But I know when I look at the clients that have started, originally in the school and have stayed for multiple years, they haven't been the ones that I have to sell to. They've been the ones that I've been associated with. I didn't even know they were spenders or interested or anything. I was just like in community with them. And then they became like the best people in my community. So, how to scale that is the question, right? And that's what I'm currently working on, because I know that when I think about it the other way of like hustle, get out there and hustle, it doesn't work. And it feels terrible. And I just want to cancel the whole thing. But I'm not going to cancel. What I'm going to do instead is go back to my original plan. The original plan being, get a bunch of spenders together. Let's have a good time. Let me show you how to manage your money and make it fun. That's it. That's even how the program first began. I was like, if I'm having trouble with this and my two best friends were having trouble with this, maybe there's other people having trouble with this. Let's show them what we figured out. And it was never like hustle, hustle, hustle. It was like, let's show other people what we figured out and let's have fun with it. And it became like this amazing, beautiful community. That's what I want. And I want that in person now. I also want it online too. But I don't think I can get there if I'm doing it this other contrived way that doesn't feel like me. So I'm going to let that go starting today, actually, because I realized this last night. And it's hard, it's really hard. But I can tell that my gut was not on board with the super hustly way. My gut was like, this sucks. You should cancel, right? If you're going to do it this way, don't do it. But if you're going to do it the other way that feels like ease and freedom and fun and love, do it that way. So I got to go all in, right? Go all in on the way that feels fun. So that's where we are now. So I wanted to come on and talk about that. So that's split energy. It's when you have a plan or a goal, but there's something holding you back. because you actually want the opposite of that, right? Like I say, I want people to come to the workshop, but I actually want the opposite of that because if I got to like just stand up there and do a sales pitch to you, I don't want you to come to the workshop. Then I'm going to act like I don't want you to come to the workshop. I'm not even going to tell you that it exists. I'm going to make some random, 3 Facebook posts about it and just be like, oh, whatever. Right. But now my energy is not split anymore because I'm thinking I'm going to do it my way and make it fun. I'm not thinking I don't want you to come. I'm thinking I want you all to come. You don't have to worry about, some weird presentation. That's not what we're going to do. It's not going to be this weird presentation. It's going to be like fun. It's going to be activities and connection and coaching. And I'll tell you about the school, but I'm not going to ram it down your throat. That makes me want to tell everybody. And that's where I was at the beginning of January. I want to tell everybody about this. It's going to be great until I piled on all the stuff that was not fun. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps you recognize and identify split energy in your life. It's easy to do. Where you start is, what am I saying I want to do? What am I actually doing? If there's a disconnection there, then there's some underlying thought that's keeping you from the actual, like, doing the thing you want to do. If you need help with this, I am willing to help you with this. See, I'm not ramming the program down your throat, but I'm telling you, this is what we do twice on Tuesday. Every day, twice on Tuesday. The first step is to just get the information. So I have a 5 simple steps to heal your relationship with money for spenders. It's actually a 5-day challenge. So if you text spender to 44144, you will get this. It's got some information, but more than anything is there is an email challenge that will walk you through 5 days of looking at your money. If it's actually beginning with your money and paying off debt and knowing all your numbers that you need, this is the place to start. If it's mindset, like if it's this issue of split energy and it's mindset, then when you subscribe and you get this, when you text spender to 44144, and it's in the description box, you'll get an email and then it'll have a link to the in-person workshop that is not going to be weird anymore because I've cleaned up my split energy, or the online workshop. Same deal, not going to be weird because I cleaned up my split energy. And that's where we'll do the coaching and we'll talk about the issues like split energy, right? That's where that will happen. So whether you need help with practical money steps or with money mindset, this is where to start. Super excited to talk to you. Please comment below if you have any questions, or if you have thoughts. Tell me about when you had split energy. Tell me about what you think might be split energy right now. I would love to hear it. And I will talk to you later. Bye.